Gamekeepers get the police gun grab treatment in Yorkshire.
For us, it just puts you on edge because you can't go about doing your job. We're not breaking the law in any way, shape or form.
Venison hits the big time at the Grand National.
Liverpool comes to life when the Grand National's on, you know, so the atmosphere is great.
Ian Hodge chooses between two Turks, Yildiz and ATA shotguns, and David is on the new stump. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain.
First birds will come straight out of them pines, they'll come straight through.
Are they nice and low?
No.
Okay.
We've had some fun at the Upperwood estate on the edge of the Peak District. It's a shooting destination we've been lucky enough to film on a couple of occasions. James Crowther and his family run the shoot, and it offers impressive birds which require impressive shooting from the likes of Andy and Wayne, and all without incident. Last week, while on their way to carry out heather burning, James and fellow keeper Johnny Simmons shot a magpie. Just like these, in case you were wondering. All very black and white, until the boys and girls in blue turned up.
We're coming up to do a bit of heather burning on the top of the moor, and there was a magpie in the top of the tree. Shot landed on the moor, thought nothing else of it, got the burning equipment out. Then all of a sudden, there was a police helicopter flying around the edge of these hills.
And probably an hour later, about 10:30, I had a phone call from James's cousin actually that said that the police were down here looking for us, and someone has claimed to have been shot or shot at.
I was like, give over. Somebody's claiming that they've been shot, and two people on horses, I think, had been spooked, and one of them had fallen off a horse.
We started making our way off the top of the moor where we were, and that's when we were confronted by 6 or 7 armed response officers.
Making the way up the moorland track towards us with all firearms loaded, pointing at us.
This is not the first time James has had armed officers interrupting his gamekeeping duties. In the summer of 2023, he proved more successful decoying armed police than woodies when this lot turned up and confiscated his shotgun, following a complaint from a member of the public.
I don't even feel the police was bothered when they worked out we was pigeon shooting. The guy that come to me didn't understand the rural aspect of what we was doing. Because we had guns in his eyes, he sort of criminalised us straight away.
Back to this recent incident, and 2 calls were said to have been made to the police. One from a runner who claimed he'd been shot, and another about a person falling off a horse after it was startled. While it may seem like Greater Manchester Police overreacted, it's unclear what information was given in the calls, and that may have dictated their response, according to former Met Police Detective Ian Jensen.
Realistically, is if you get an allegation that someone's firing a gun and someone's been injured, albeit by falling off their horse, you've got to go and have a look. The police are in the risk business as well as the law enforcement business. And you can't just go, oh, it's obviously the guy's up on the moors and someone's horse is overreacted or something. You've got to go and have a look. And then having gone and had a look, you've got to satisfy yourself that everything is as the people telling you actually is. Because, and this may come a shock, but when the police talk to people, not everybody tells them the truth. And I'm not suggesting that these guys didn't tell the truth, but you've got to kind of make sure that it is.
The firearms officers on the time, they said everything checked out, licences, guns checked out, they was happy with us. 5 minutes later, they get a call to say that a sergeant 3 pay grades above them has decided we needed to go down to the police station for questioning because we might have injured somebody.
On the day I had my dogs with me, so we had to go back via my house, at which point they insisted on going through all my gun cabinets and guns that I had at home, making sure everything was legit, which it was. And then, yeah, spent next sort of hour or so in the back of a van and at Ashton Station.
And then when we got there, the custody sergeant, like a lady with a little bit of common sense, started telling the story. Basically, this member of the public had saying they'd been shot, which was, in our opinion, impossible because the shot was up and we was away from the footpaths. I overheard him say, well, we can't go to every clay pigeon ground and arrest everybody for letting a shot off, can we? Just because somebody doesn't like it, don't mean we can arrest them. So after 10 minutes at the police station, they basically come back and said, you're not being arrested, you're going to be discharged.
The decision to take James and Jono to the police station in Ashton-under-Lyne resulted in no burning being done and several people and the estate losing money and valuable time for upland management.
A massive waste of time, and more annoying really is employed extra staff on the day because it was a good day for burning. We've only got a short window to do it between October and end of March. And obviously weather's against us a lot of the time, so we lost an important day's work. The officers on the ground even stopped the other lads from carrying on burning. They could have carried on their own, but they didn't want them to. So
for us, it just puts you on edge because you can't go about doing your job. We're not breaking the law in any way, shape or form, but you get treated like a criminal, guns seized, and if you argue back, you end up being uncooperative and they don't like you talking back. So you're basically stuck in a situation where you're waiting for them to sort of figure it out themselves and realise you've done nothing wrong.
And I think that there is a recognition, it would seem, obviously, from those local officers, that activists can use, the fact that someone's shooting and someone's frightened to try and curtail the legal activities of country folk, for want of a better all-round phrase. I'm just trying to put some perspective around how that may have played out. I mean, in the end, it kind of was a happy ending and common sense prevailed. And often, we can look back and learn from what's happened.
The question that arises from that for me, quite apart from the ones about policing, training and common sense, is whether anyone going out with a gun should ring their local police and obtain an incident number before they go out. Hunts in some areas are letting police know when and where they're trail hunting to avoid or to deflect unnecessary call-outs. Or is that a waste of police and our time? What do you think? Comments below. Now, what's in this week's Fieldsports Extra? A road-safe bear, and a zoologist says how banning people from hunting is impossible.
Well, we're the successful ones. We've got to be good at something.
This week's Fieldsports Extra prize draw is for one of 5 pairs of tickets to the Stalking Show, which takes place on the 12th to the 13th of April 2025 at the Staffordshire County Showground. It is a super show, full of heart, and we will have a stand there. Fieldsports Extra's weekly prize draw is simple to enter. Find out how on Fieldsports Extra, the exclusive show for members that goes out to them on Tuesday nights. Link to membership, now with insurance, below. Next, we pay, he displays. It's our own version of OnlyFans. David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. The policing minister in the Westminster government has misled MPs over the hike in firearms licensing fees. In a letter to MPs to explain the hike, which saw the cost of a shotgun certificate rise 133% to nearly £200 in February, Diana Johnson says she ordered the increase without consulting stakeholders, so that, in quotes, required service improvements could be made. She refers to the Plymouth Coroner's report, which she says recommended an increase in fees. However, not only does the report not recommend an increase in fees, police forces contacted by BASC confirm that none of the money raised by the fee increases is guaranteed to go back into firearms licensing. She even got the name of the report wrong in her letter. Thanks to the Deer Stalking UK Facebook group for the story. Deer are damaging waterways. That's the conclusion of a new report by Norfolk and Suffolk's Broads Authority. Its findings highlight what it calls significant negative impacts, particularly on fen and woodlands. It says there is a need for immediate action to control deer numbers on the Broads and National Park. Researchers used drones with thermal cameras to survey more than 120 square miles of the Broads at night or early in the morning in February 2024 and found tracks on wallows that they say are causing considerable disruption to habitat structure and composition. The experimental trial of hen harrier brood management has ended. DEFRA says the exercise contributed to a substantial increase in nesting hen harriers in England. However, despite no convictions of gamekeepers in recent years, DEFRA officials maintain that illegal killing of hen harriers has continued, and the government department believes that a range of approaches may be required for hen harriers in the future. DEFRA repeats the RSPB line that the hen harrier numbers are suppressed by illegal killing and nest disturbance associated with grouse moor management. BBC TV presenter Chris Packham spoofed shooters last week, promising an interview with a grouse shooter. The film he put out includes a humorous interview with a pretend grouse shooter called Glenn Massacre. The aim of the film is to breathe life into his latest petition to ban grouse shooting. Like the previous petitions, the government responds that it has no plans to ban driven grouse shooting.
Discrimination victimisation and harassment of a minority group. How is this even allowed to happen? If he lampooned any other community, such as the gay community, the travelling community or Muslims, he would be banged up as a hatred-inciting extremist.
Here's a tip for attracting deer. Let your brambles run wild. A new study reveals that brambles form a major part of fallow deer's diets. Researchers at Bangor University used a DNA sequencing technique called metabarcoding to reveal what plant species are in deer poo. They took the samples from wild deer in Elwy Valley in North Wales and a herd of deer at a nearby Welsh mountain zoo. They found that brambles make up 80% of the wild deer's winter diet, dropping to 50% by late summer. Do you fancy owning your own wildfowling marsh? Little Merston Nature Reserve in Sittingbourne in Kent is on the market for £655,000. The wetland site on flooded clay pits and disused oyster ponds stretches for more than 160 acres, not far from the Eurolink industrial estate. It's currently held on a 10-year lease until March 2032 to Kent Wildfowling and Conservation Association. Its freehold is up for sale with estate agent Lambert and Foster. Link below.
I'm Alan Jarrett, chairman of the Kent Wildfowlers, which is Britain's largest wildfowling club. We buy land to enable people to join the club and go shooting, and we're interested in the area at Little Merston. If anyone would like to help us fundraise or make a donation to the club, please contact us through our website, which is kentwildfowlers.co.uk.
Botswana's hunting revenues have almost doubled despite UK government opposition. Botswana has made $4 million from the sale of licences to hunt wild animals, up from 2.7 million in 2023. It's the highest figure since the country lifted a hunting ban in 2019. The hunting season, which ended in November, was held amid opposition from the UK, which wants to ban on the importation of African wildlife trophies. That has led to protests outside the British High Commission in Gaborone. Botswana issues around 400 elephant licences annually, with most purchased by overseas hunters. It has the world's largest elephant herd at more than 130,000 animals and has recorded an increase in human fatalities. An American hunting influencer tourist who picked up a wild baby wombat may not be allowed back into Australia. Officials are to rule on whether her behaviour breached her visa conditions. A video shared widely on social media shows the woman, who has 92,000 followers on Instagram, running with the baby wombat towards a car while its distressed mother chases after her. On her Instagram, the woman describes herself as an outdoor enthusiast and hunter, wildlife biologist and environmental scientist. Australia's Home Affairs Minister says his department is examining her visa to determine if she breached any conditions of her stay. She later apologised for the incident. And finally, is this next season's must-have shooting accessory. It's a sterling silver hip flask in the shape of a hand grenade. It's the brainchild of jeweller James Brenner of Brenners of London. And the price? It's a snip, or nip, at £3,800.
So in order to get your favourite tipple, what you have to do is pull the pin, take the spoon off. As the fuse burns down, you unscrew the fuse so it doesn't explode in your face, and there you go, you have your favourite drink.
You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David, who asks all viewers to like this video and subscribe to Fieldsports Channel. Thank you. Next up, when Steve McGuigan began his wild meat company in Liverpool, he had no idea his venison would end up as main course at one of the UK's top race meetings. Horse racing fans flock to Aintree for the Grand National, and for the ultimate entertainment, they will be dining in Paul Askew's restaurant there, the Art School, where star of the menu is local venison, supplied by Fieldsports Channel's very own Steve McGuigan. Today, top chef Paul is visiting Steve's larder to see for himself how deer are handled and processed.
1 week of April every year, we take our business and camp out in the joys of horse racing for the day and take our tasting menu and wine flight, and it's wonderful actually. It's a really, Liverpool comes to life when the Grand National's on, you know, so the atmosphere is great, yeah. So for us in restaurant land, we're very much always looking for the best possible ingredients that we can find, and also USPs. Every restaurant needs its own style, its own unique products. But I think for us, it's very much about the provenance, the sustainability, the quality, but the personal touch as well. So I can pick up the phone to Steve and say, you know, on this occasion, I want a whole animal, but I want it broken into saddle, haunch, and forequarter. I want this bit minced. I want that, and you know, and this is the sort of service that we're looking for. And of course, from Steve's point of view, if I can take a whole animal and that whole nose to tail cuisine that we love doing, you know, I like braised elements, I like prime cuts, I like terrines, I like pâtés, I like, you know, so we really are using every piece of the venison. And for us, it's about the customer service, obviously, and the quality of the food. But we also have to know that things are being done correctly in back of house in terms of its licensing, its cleanliness, its packaging, its dating, you know, the traceability of where the beast was killed, the number, you know, as much provenance as we have, we will actually put as much as we can on the menu to say it's come from Dunham Massey, it's come from the Grosvenor Estate, it's a red deer, it's a fallow deer. We want to tell the story, so it's very difficult to get that unless you have this kind of relationship, and I think that whole provenance and the sustainability story makes your product and your restaurant unique. And of course, for Steve selling it to me, what could be possibly better? You know, it's just traceability is key.
It's a big landmark for Steve's business, Cheshire Wild Venison, which grew out of his passion for field sports.
I've been in gamekeeping and deer management for 30 years now. I'm 46 in a few months. You know, I started an apprenticeship when I was 15, you know, a long time ago, and all through a Jack Charlton video. That's where it is, but literally that's where it came from. That's where my passion came from. You have to have that passion, you have to have that calling, if you like, without it sounding too corny. It's got to be it's in you, you know, and the food is a byproduct of what we do, whether that be professional management, whether that be for sport, enjoyment. You owe it to the animal and yourself from a health point of view, but you owe it to the quarry that you're stalking, shooting, ferreting, to do the very best by that carcass. I was managing more and more deer, so that's where the outlet for the venison came from. I came to see this chiller here behind me that was for sale on, I think, eBay or whatever it was. This is what my ultimate goal was, eventually, to build a customer base, to have a processing facility for the deer that I am managing, which, you know, tends to be between sort of, it can be up to 40 animals a week sometimes. I saw the ladies over the road who actually run the industrial site, and they offered me the lease on the unit. So I, what's the best way to, I rang headquarters and spoke to your field sports lawyer, but also my financial controller, a director, the Fiora, and she said, go for it. We had a little bit of money put by, and on your head be it, and if it doesn't work, you live in there. So with a lot of blood, sweat and tears and swearing and this, that and the other, plumbing and lots of shopping on eBay, we've done it. And, you know, touch wood, it's working. It's working, it's wiping its face. But the main thing, James, I'm loving it. I absolutely love it.
Steve has done what a lot of shooters and stalkers hope to do, turning their hobby into a business. It sounds like the dream job, but of course there's more to it than meets the eye.
Honestly, it's been a massive learning curve for me. Obviously the main thing was the chiller. I suppose you could call it telesales as well. You know, everyone's got a profile on one of these things now. Find the telephone number, introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about what you do. Some people tell you to go forth and multiply. Some people don't. And you go down, like I've done on many occasions, take a sample with you. You know, a venison, obviously. I've got great confidence in my ability to do the job. The business side of things I'm learning very rapidly, but I've got huge confidence in the venison, the meat, the animals that I manage and produce. The hygiene one, getting in touch with the local authority, we're under Cheshire County Council here. The guys at Cheshire have been great. Anyone who knows me, they know I've got sometimes annoying fetish for the cleanliness of a lot. It's ingrained in me. It has to be like an operating theatre. They came out, they gave us the number 5 sticker, and the inspection, that was great. People within the industry have been absolutely fantastic in helping me. The accountancy side of things has been a bit of a learning curve, and I'm still learning now. You know, I'm learning that there's bills coming in that I didn't even know you could get a bill for.
So, if you are tempted to give up the day job and start your own field sports-based business, what is Steve's advice?
I would never, ever, ever deter somebody from doing what they love. Because as I've always said, if you do something you love, then you're going to be better at it naturally. So anybody out there who's wanting to do it, if you've got the customer base or you think you can build that customer base up and the demand is there, do it. Because it's better to have done it and it not worked out, to have never done it and not know.
You can find Cheshire Wild Venison on Instagram, link below. And for more about Paul and his restaurant, go to theartschoolrestaurant.co.uk. Thanks, Steve. Now, it's been an interesting week for our Field Sports Advice Bureau, FAB, dedicated to helping certificate holders hold on to their certificates. Layla, our tame lawyer, is dealing with a case where a gun owner's father was allegedly pressurised into telling the police where his son's gun cabinet keys were. He didn't. The police went away empty-handed. But a reminder for people, telling people where your keys are could end up with you looking at a 5-year jail sentence. This one is ongoing, so we'll tell you how it ends when I know. Next, back to Steve, in his role as our competitions guy, yes, that's where you saw him before, for a word about one of March's fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk prizes.
Steve here from Field Sports Competitions. I hope you're all well. This week we've got 2 seats available, or 2 sets of seats. We've got 1 high seat from Bushwear, and then we've got 5 very low seats available, the Fieldsports Channel canvas chairs. Our latest winner with Fieldsports Competitions has come all the way from the Isle of Man to have his dear experience day with Mr. Pilbeam and Kayak Bryn.
First time I entered, so lucky. But yeah, just absolutely made up to win it.
Get yourself over to fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk, buy yourself a ticket or 10. Fingers crossed for you all. Good luck, and I'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Steve. Next up, Ian Hodge looks at the pros and cons of buying Turkish shotguns.
We've now started the last few months, or probably 12 months now, started selling Yildiz. We've always sold a few of them, but we've now got a bit more of a range of them. And we just took this one in, which is the Yildiz Wildfowler. See the wood on that, it is absolutely beautiful wood. I can assure you, if you've got beautiful wood, you do shoot better. It goes without question. And the case hardened finish there, it's not a lot of engraving, which some people don't like engraving, but that sort of finish, and this is what they call the Wildfowler. So, beautiful gun, £680. You have got a lot of gun there for that. Turkey has really come on, and although I think some of the guns are a little bit questionable, the ones that get imported into this country are first class. And Yildiz has got a very good name anyway. It's been built up over a number of years, so the name comes first really with people. Oh yeah, I've heard of Yildiz, and the quality is excellent. It goes through a lot of tests, so it's got to be good. You haven't got to worry that it's coming from Turkey, it's coming from overseas. It's got to go through the Birmingham or London proof house. If it's no good, it won't make the grade. For that sort of money, it's slightly dearer. This is the ATA, again from Turkey. A similar action, very similar to the Beretta, with some scroll engraving. But again, nice gun, nice wood. Not, in all honesty, good a quality as the Yildiz, but it is nice wood, and the ATA does handle well. That's where the money's come into that. The money's gone into the engraving, not the wood, and the other way round for the Yildiz. You'll have a job to find guns of this quality from any other country for this sort of money. I think Turkey are winning hands down. People are instead of buying a 25-year-old Spanish gun, which was nice in its day, but it's still 25 years old and it's still second hand, they're going for a newer gun, or a brand new gun that is Turkish made. These are multi-chokes, so they've got the different chokes and so on, and that's what people are looking for as well. They are
if anybody wants to upgrade, they're asking, I need it to be steel proof. They're just future proofing for when it does come in that we will no longer be allowed to use lead. The Yildiz in particular are very good for, as long as you look after them, it's like any gun or anything, you must look after it, you know, make sure it doesn't go down. When you finish shooting, bring it in. But no, the shininess and the newness will stay on this gun for a very long time. On this one we got the scroll engraving, and on this, on the Yildiz, it's case hardened.
For more from Ian Hodge Field Sports, go to ianhodgefieldsports.co.uk. Thanks, Ian, and that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please visit our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook and Instagram, follow us on X and TikTok, subscribe to us on YouTube, or pop your email address into our weekly newsletter box, and we'll contact you about this show. Fieldsports Britain, it's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday, and this has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.